sulky, over bulky,
kinda hulky superhero.
a two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero, an exotically neurotic
And aquatic superhero.
The Marvel superheroes have arrived.
Marvel Comics is a publisher of comic books in America and as well as other related media. Their published comic books feature some of the most popular characters. Most of the fictional characters made by Marvel Comics operate in a single reality known as the Marvel Universe. But before Marvel became popular, have you ever thought about how it started? In this video, I will inform you of Marvel's history throughout the years. Marvel Comics was founded by established pulp magazine publisher Martin Goodman in 1939 as an eventual group of subsidiary companies under the umbrella name Timely Comics. Its first publication was Marvel Comics #1, featuring the second appearance of Carl Burgo's android superhero, the Human Torch. Soon after, editor Joe Simon teamed with soon-to-be industry legend Jack Kirby to create one of the first patriarchally themed superheroes, Captain America, in Captain America Comics #1. It, too, proved to be a major sales hit.
You got me all right. Got me in perfect position for 1 and 3.
In the 1950s, sales of all comic books declined drastically in the post-war era. Like other comics companies, Timely, generally known as Atlas Comics in the 1950s, followed pop cultural trends with a variety of genres including funny animals, western, horror, war, crime, humor, romance, spy fiction, and even medieval adventure, all with varying degrees of success. An attempted superhero revival from 1953 to 1954 with the Human Torch, the Submariner, and Captain America failed.
Surprise!
In the wake of DC Comics' success surviving superheroes in the late 1950s and early 1960s, particularly with the Justice League of America, Marvel decided to follow suit. Fantastic Four #1 marked the cornerstone of Marvel and the introduction of a new style of superhero. Marvel began publishing further superhero titles featuring such heroes. The most successful series was The Amazing Spider-Man by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Marvel Comics were noted for focusing on characterization to a greater extent than most superhero comics before them.
Good evening, Major Corey.
Who in blazes are you?
I am the Red Skull, and you made a fatal mistake by leaving your window open. It's too late to use that gun, Major. This gas will take away your memory for months, and by then, we will have triumph.
In 1986, Marvel was sold to New World Entertainment, which within 3 years sold it to MacAndrews and Forbes. Owned by Revlon executive Ronald Perelman, the company was taken public on the New York Stock Exchange and oversaw a great increase in the numbers of titles Marvel published. Marvel had a huge makeover in the 1990s. Perelman promised investors that the franchise would expand their branding and sell merchandise, such as stickers and action figures. In 1993, Marvel acquired 46% of Toy Biz, with the goal of profiting off of Marvel action figures. People, however, lost interest in the expensive Marvel toys, stickers, and other memorabilia. Perelman decided he wanted to buy the remaining Toy Biz shares and merge it with Marvel to create a bigger, better business. The shareholders didn't like this idea. In turn, Perelman decided to file for bankruptcy so that he could merge with Toy Biz without the approval of the stockholders. Meanwhile, Marvel spent much of the 90s selling the rights to many of the most iconic characters, including Iron Man, Hulk, Black Panther, and the X-Men. That's why some Marvel characters, such as the X-Men and the Avengers, never appear on screen with each other. In 1996, Fox bought New World Communications, thus incorporating Marvel Studios and Marvel Films. The next year, Stan Lee was appointed as chairman of Marvel Studios, and the production company started long-term plans for movies to be released the next 10 years, including X-Men, Daredevil, Elektra, and Fantastic Four. One of the most pivotal years in the history of Marvel Studios was 2004. David Maisel was hired as Chief Operating Officer of Marvel Studios, and he had a plan for the future of the franchise. Soon after, Marvel took a $525 million loan from Merrill Lynch. But there was a condition. If Marvel failed to make that money back within 8 years, they'd have to give up the rights to 10 Marvel characters, including Ant-Man, the Avengers, Black Panther, and Nick Fury. Marvel entered talks with Universal Pictures to no avail. Merrill Lynch wanted to pull out of the deal with Marvel and tried to force them to provide a third of the budget. Luckily, in 2005, they struck a distribution deal with Paramount Pictures, allowing the characters' rights to Iron Man, Thor, and Black Widow to go back to Marvel. After nearly 70 years in the making of the history of Marvel Studios, it was the 2008 release of Iron Man that catalyzed its success, and Marvel began delivering consistently fantastic films from that point on. In June of 2009, Disney acquired Marvel Entertainment for $4 billion, along with the distribution rights for the Avengers and Iron Man 3. The later success of Marvel Studios is largely attributed to Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige, who says modern superhero films owe it all to Blade. Feige's shrewd and creative decisions, such as casting Robert Downey Jr. and his vision of an inclusive Marvel Cinematic Universe, now worth more than $17 billion. My favorite thing about Marvel Studios is that they give us so much to look forward to. They've announced plans for 8 new movies, the last of which will be released in 2020. And after that, who knows? The future for Marvel looks bright.